I'm Erika Harold, Executive Director of the Illinois Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. Since 2016, the Commission has brought together legal professionals from across the state at our annual conference, The Future is Now Legal Services. This year, we're thrilled to host the conference virtually on Thursday, April 21st. Things have changed a lot since 2016, and the legal profession is no exception. The services, counsel, and accessibility that clients are looking for in a lawyer have evolved, and it's up to us to keep pace. When we were exploring topics for the 2022 conference, the theme of value was top of mind. In the age of LegalZoom and alternative business structures, what's the unique value that attorneys can provide clients? And are we doing a good job of communicating that? I'm here with Stephanie Villinski, Deputy Director at the Commission, and Mark Palmer, our Chief Counsel, to discuss why we selected this important topic for this year's conference and what attendees can expect to learn. The Future is Now will be held virtually on April 21st. Registration is open at thefutureisnow.tocivility.org, but closes on April 20th. And importantly, CLE is available for attendees. So let's jump in. Stephanie, when today's consumers seek legal help, what are they looking for? In other words, what's the value that they seek from an attorney, and how has that changed over the years?
Great question. Thank you, Erica. Well, as you mentioned, LegalZoom, right? So there are several options for clients these days to get help online without even talking to an attorney. And really, I think for value, if a client is going to use a lawyer instead of maybe just doing it on their own online, they want to know what value add will the lawyer provide. And I do think a lawyer can add a lot. I think one of the biggest things is in actually talking with attorneys and discussing your issue, the lawyer sees not only the issue presented, but we as lawyers are trained to also see beyond that. Why has the client gotten into this situation? Are there other legal issues that aren't being addressed? Is there another way to solve the problem? And so it's really more of a holistic representation. And that I think is a great value add that you can't necessarily get just from looking, filling out documents online. And I think such holistic representation can also really minimize litigation in the future.
Mark, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think that legal consumers are looking for out of their lawyer right now?
Well, let me put it this way. We often hear of access to justice and the problem it presents. But I think we tend to underappreciate the value and the importance of those words. And think how the world has changed in the last 20 years and how potential clients looking for lawyers already have access to statutes and ordinances and case law and forms and blogs and legal Q&As, even online videos, right? And on and on. Yet we might have access to resources and problem that we're addressing to a degree, but our access to justice problem persists still. As a quick example, think of somebody who's seeking a divorce, right? They can find very useful court-approved forms and even online guides to walk them through that process of being a self-represented litigant. However, the counsel they're going to find in engaging with the lawyer can rise to higher levels of addressing the needs probably surrounding that separation, be it child custody issues, estate planning, social services, and counseling. What led to the divorce? What's next for the parties involved, and so on and so on. This is where the delivery of legal services can bring value and even bring justice. And it must start with the legal profession in getting the legal consumer to realize that. Put another way, to see that the ROI is coming from the lawyer instead of maybe downloading a form.
So these are really interesting observations. Why is it that you think lawyers sometimes have a difficult time communicating this value to their consumers and to their clients?
Yeah, I think a major player in the attorney's difficulty in communicating their value starts with the disconnect of communication that's been growing for the last 20 years again. and it's greatly been accelerated the last couple years in the pandemic. So you have very new forms of engagement taking the forefront, much to do with technology. And this has pushed the consumer along in how they prefer to engage in the marketplace, including the legal marketplace. And so as legal professionals resist these things or are otherwise slow to change, the disconnect in communication makes the value proposition from the lawyer's side even harder from the start, right? However, legal professionals who do develop more familiarity with the capabilities at their disposal to find new opportunities, they will find those opportunities. They will have better organizational efficiencies. They will have improved client experiences. And consumer expectations can once again find what I like to say, the meeting of the minds again. And the market for turning to lawyers for help can be opened up again and realized upon by the legal consumers.
Stephanie, what excites you about the value proposition that our speakers are going to discuss at the conference?
I am really excited that I think this is a great time for this conference. We're 2 years from the pandemic. We're starting to, really come back to the office, the workspace in a different place. And I think it is a great time for attorneys and the profession in general to really take stock and reflect on where we are headed. The practice has changed over the past 2 years. It's not going back to exactly how it was. And I think Mark's point too, just communication with the client. I think I'm excited. It's a basic principle, but just the notion that starting the conversation with the client as more of a values-based mindset. What does that even mean? And really looking at what does the client really want? Obviously, as lawyers, we know, if it's an eviction case, they don't want to be evicted, but what else is there? There's a lot more there. And I'm just excited for people to hear people who are doing that in their practices and what that looks like.
Mark, what do you think the biggest takeaways are going to be? What excites you about this upcoming conference?
Well, I like to think whatever position the attendees are coming from, be it judges to law students, from solo practitioners to corporate lawyers, we see them all, and from all over the country, even the world, like we have every year from the Future is Now conference. I really hope they embrace the lessons from the speakers and from fellow attendees, to be frank. That's where the town halls come into an important role in the afternoon. And I hope they use these conversations to themselves reorient the way they deliver legal services, or at a minimum, how they look at how they do that. So client expectations around why they should turn to legal professionals in the first place has evolved immensely, to the point that we not only should reevaluate the nature of our work, but we must. And I really want them to lead the change for ourselves, for our organizations, to consider why and how we are doing what we do to deliver value beyond our clients, even to our community, to our bar associations, to our leadership roles, both now and in the future, in the years to come. I'm really excited to hear the wide array of speakers this year and the spark of energy they're all going to bring to each of us to do so.
Well, there should definitely be valuable takeaways for every attorney and every practice area. So as a reminder, the Future is Now will be held virtually on Thursday, April 21st. Registration is open at thefutureisnow.2civility.org, but it closes on April 20th, and we will include the link in the notes. Importantly, attendees are eligible to receive 4 hours of professional responsibility CLE credit in Illinois, including 3 hours of general professional responsibility and 1 hour of diversity and inclusion CLE. We hope to see you on April 21st.